Have you ever looked at a cornflower and wondered why it is called a cornflower? In English, its name is cornflower. Literally, cornflower, the flower of the grain. This is not a poetic name chosen because of its beautiful blue color. The name comes from something much more practical. For centuries, this small blue flower grew wild in cereal fields alongside wheat, barley, rye, and oats. But there is something much more surprising about this little flower. Behind this seemingly humble plant lies a story that takes us back thousands of years. A story that passes through ancient medicine, Greek legends, European wheat fields, and even reaches the tomb of Tutankhamun. Let us start with the name. The English word cornflower appears as early as the 16th century and comes from corn, in its old meaning of cereal, combined with flour. And here we have a small linguistic trap. When we hear the English word corn today, we immediately think of maize. That is not what corn means in this case. In older English, corn was a general word for grain and cereals. That is why the cornflower is literally the flower that grows in cereal fields. Its scientific name, however, is Centaurea cyanus. Centaurea takes us directly into the world of Greek mythology. The name is connected with the centaurs, and particularly with Chiron, the famous centaur known for his knowledge of medicinal herbs. According to tradition, a plant from this group is said to have helped Chiron treat a wound. The second name, cyanus, refers to the color blue. The word comes from the Greek kyanos, a term associated with an intense blue color. So even in its scientific name, we already have three different worlds: the wheat field, mythology, and the color blue. And this is where the story becomes even more interesting. Today, the cornflower is strongly associated with European rural landscapes. Botanically, however, its story is older and more complex. Modern classifications place the native range of Centaurea cyanus in the eastern and central Mediterranean region, with native populations including areas of southern Europe and Anatolia. So this is not simply a story about a flower that originated in Egypt and then arrived in Europe. The reality is much more fascinating. The cornflower is a plant deeply connected to the history of agriculture. Growing among cereal crops, it followed the environments created by humans for thousands of years. Where cereals were introduced, where fields were plowed, and where seeds were sown, flowers like these could appear as well. And so the cornflower became one of the most characteristic plants of European agricultural landscapes. Garlands were found inside the burial. Among the plants identified were also flowers belonging to the genus Centaurea, commonly described as cornflowers. One of the arrangements included olive leaves alternating with Centaurea flowers. And here we need to be precise. Botanical studies carried out on the finds from Carter's excavation identified some of these flowers as Centaurea depressa, a species very similar to our modern cornflower, rather than necessarily Centaurea cyanus. That distinction actually makes the story even more fascinating. We cannot simply say, this is the modern cornflower found in Tutankhamun's tomb. What we can say is that a flower from the Centaurea genus, very similar to the cornflower, was part of the pharaoh's funerary arrangements. Now imagine the scene. A small, fragile, seemingly insignificant flower, preserved for more than 3,000 years beside one of the most famous rulers of ancient Egypt. There is something almost moving about that story. The golden objects in the tomb were designed to last. The flowers were not. They were fragile. They dried out. Normally, they would have disappeared. Yet, thanks to the special conditions of the burial, some plant remains survived long enough to be studied. The University of Oxford's Tutankhamun project describes the discovery of a small garland containing Centaurea flowers and olive leaves placed on the outside of the sarcophagus. And this tells us something important. For the ancient Egyptians, flowers were not simply decoration. They were part of rituals, ceremonies, and the symbolic language of death. The flower accompanied the ruler on his final journey. Long before becoming a garden flower, the cornflower was also known for its supposed medicinal uses. European herbal traditions associated it especially with the treatment of the eyes and wounds. During the Renaissance, for example, cornflower appears in herbal traditions as a remedy for the eyes and as a plant used in preparations for wounds. Today, of course, traditional practices should not be confused with modern medical treatments. Still, understanding how people viewed the plant is fascinating. Its intense blue color, its presence in the fields, and its association with medicine helped create a strong symbolic reputation around the cornflower. Even today, the petals are used in some food preparations, herbal teas, and as a decorative ingredient. But the cornflower also had a romantic side. In some European folk traditions, the flower was associated with young lovers. A young man could carry a cornflower as a symbol of his love. According to one popular belief, if the flower wilted quickly, that was a bad sign. His love was not returned. A small superstition that turned an ordinary field flower into an ancient kind of love test. There is also a story connected to the Prussian royal family. According to tradition, while fleeing Prussia from Napoleon's troops, Queen Louise of Prussia sought refuge with her children in a field. To distract and calm the children, she gathered cornflowers and made small crowns from them. The story became part of the legend connecting the cornflower with the Prussian royal family and later with Germany. Whether the story is historically accurate or partly legendary, the tale shows how quickly a simple flower can become a political and national symbol. The blue cornflower eventually became associated with Prussia. And that same little flower that grew among cereal fields became a symbol of identity. And now we can return to the question we started with. Why cornflower? Why is it called that? The answer seems simple. Because it grew in fields of grain. But behind those two words lies a much longer story. A story about a plant that has accompanied humans through the fields. A plant that appears in traditional medicine. A plant that enters Greek legends. A plant that becomes a symbol of love. A plant associated with the Prussian monarchy. And above all, a plant that leaves us with a remarkable trace in ancient Egypt, where flowers from the Centaurea genus were placed beside Tutankhamun more than 3,000 years ago. Perhaps that is the real fascination of botanical archaeology. History is not made only of great monuments, wars, and kings. Sometimes history survives in something much smaller. A leaf, a seed, a petal that has almost disappeared, or the blue of a tiny flower that more than 3,000 years ago someone chose to place beside a king. And perhaps, when we see a cornflower today growing in the middle of a wheat field, we are not looking at just a flower. We are looking at a small fragment of a story far older than we might imagine. Why cornflower? Because sometimes, all it takes is a flower to travel across 3,000 years.